The 90s were an odd time for the heavy-hitting 80s icons. Every big one tried to do the old, look behind the curtain to some effect. And Michael Myers was no different.
It's his mark.
But after the opium-induced borefest that was Part 5, the 90s MTV era seeped in to Part 6. And though what we got was a mess, and in terms of behind-the-scenes backstory, quite fascinating, I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that, flaws aside, Curse of Michael Myers gave us the only true great schlocky entry that went for style over substance and did the one thing that has been missing for far too long. It gave Michael his edge back. So like I often say, take a hit if that's your thing, and don't forget to make it a home pour if you're more of a drinker. And let's try to have some fun as I dig into this battered yet entertaining sequel, Halloween 6: The Curse of Michael Myers. The Halloween franchise has always had a harder go, being that the first is a stone cold classic, and that the silent killer never had the chance to grow or expand. I mean, think about it, unlike Freddy or Chucky, whose personalities could evolve in entertaining and interesting visual ways, or like Jason Voorhees, where you end up rooting for him, Michael Myers has been stuck in a similar loop with very few variations, and I get it. I respect that it has always been razor straight. But if there was ever a franchise that should have stayed a single entry, let's be honest, Halloween is it. But hey, that's not life. Things go on, things continue, and so to enjoy the sequels, you need to accept a varying degree of stupid shit. And when it came time to explain Michael, Halloween 6 took this fool's errand on, giving us a sequel that is dunked on constantly. Yet, looking back so many years later, it's a hell of a lot more fun than a few of the Xanax-induced sequels that the series has sprinkled in. Now, there are two cuts for those not overly familiar with the 6th entry. The producer's cut, which for many years was hard to own. I mean, hell, I even have a grainy copy I got from Flashback Weekend in 2004, but was finally released in all of its HD glory by Shout Factory in 2014. And then there's the theatrical cut with the reshoots, re-edits, and different soundtrack. I am going to be defending the theatrical cut. I know. Hey, but I'm a pragmatic guy. I'll gladly admit that in terms of storytelling and all-around filmmaking competency, the producer's cut is better. But the issue being that the cult stuff is so f***ing ridiculous to begin with, that going full measure on that undermines a cool and brutish version of Michael. I'm sorry. There are ways to do the cult and present it to where I'm not laughing at it, like a 70s Cheech Marin. They go full 70s TV movie of the week with these big goofy robes and magical stones that can stop Michael. I mean, dude, it doesn't work. Again, it is much maligned, but I've always found the idea of a cult more interested in scientific experiments cooler than of ancient blood sacrifices. My opinion. Though a complete mess and way more convoluted, trimming down the cult stuff and making it more modern gave us a still batshit crazy idea. But for this guy, it just goes down a bit smoother. Part 5 set up a few things without any interest in how it would eventually pay off because, it ain't Part 5. And so they didn't care. Part 5 gave us Michael's wrist tattoo, which I will say, to be fair, made a lot more sense with the now infamous Dr. Death deleted scene. It gave us a man in black walking around in an attire so loud and distracting that there's no way he's walking around a small Illinois town without being noticed. Not to mention, he kicks a f***ing dog like 5 seconds after arriving, so he's not really a man best suited for recon. Yet Revenge of Michael Myers bombed, and it took 6 whole years to get this sequel off the ground. And if one thing I love about the 80s horror franchises was the unnecessary need to continue exactly where the one before left off. And so Halloween 6 had to do double duty. It had to continue a story set up by one of the worst and incredibly boring sequels, yet bring the Halloween franchise into the 90s with a fresh and modern take. And though I love Part 4 The Return and rank it as my favorite sequel, the mask and shoulder padding has always made Michael look like a sad grandpa. But with Curse, we finally get a good mask. I mean, I'll be honest, this is my favorite since the original, though I do understand part 2 means a lot to some of you. I like its wider face, deeper eyes, and that crazy 90s hair. Yes. Like every 90s pop commercial, whether it be Mountain Dew or Pepsi, whatever. This mask and getup is extreme. In Curse, Michael busts onto the scene with zero fucks given, presenting to us the most aggressive performance of Michael Myers until Tyler Mane took the role in 2007. We get a 90s version of the wall kill with the nurse, to breaking the neck of the redneck. We get that great outside Deborah kill, and the slaughtering of the entire cult. And it's George P. Wilbur, the same guy from part 4. So it just goes to show you what a better costume can do. And though I should say that Michael Lerner did play Michael Myers in the re-edited shoots at the end. But you get the point. And with a bulky, pissed off Michael, Curse gets something else right. It has a likable and entertaining cast. Yeah, crazy, right? Mitch Ryan as Dr. Terrence Wynn has an elegance and natural charm that works.
To old friends, to retirement, to new beginnings.
Yeah, it's a stock villain role, yet Ryan pulls it off with ease. Of course, Donald Pleasance comes back, though his age is clearly showing, with him passing not too long after they wrapped filming. Even with a paycheck job, and that's what this is, his class and presence shine through. Marianne Hagen deserves a ton more credit as Kara Strode. She's calm, cool, and collective. The 80s teen tropes were far gone, and characters like Tina were left in the 80s where they belong. Kara is such an easy and likable character to follow. Marianne Hagen plays her with a maturity that was easy to get on board with. And of course, Paul Rudd is Tommy Doyle. This is such a strange and weird performance, and Rudd clearly isn't on the joke here, but damn if he isn't a fascinating watch. His line delivery is that of legend.
Can you tell me if a bus arrived from Pontiac last night?
That's my baby. There's been an accident.
What kind of accident?
Get me a doctor now!
Say what you will about Curse, but Rudd has always known the assignment and delivered. And like any good slasher, you need some good old-fashioned low-life characters. Some well-executed sleaze. We get Leo Getter playing the fantastic shock jock Barry Sims. A small part, yes, but the guy owns it and makes Barry instantly unlikable. And so, I kinda like him. I like a good sleaze in a movie if done right. And Barry is that sleaze. Also, as a side note, people usually refer to Barry as a sort of Howard Stern, which always bothered me. Haddonfield is a fake town set in Illinois. Know your history. It's a fake town in Illinois. Barry is like Mancow Muller. And then there's the over-the-top bastard of a dad, John, flawlessly played by Bradford English. And this is the kind of guy you write in a movie where it's just like, hey, we need him to be hated and killed violently, and they hit the bullseye on this one. I'm not gonna lie, this guy got more than a few chuckles out of me because he was just such an incredibly big asshole for really no reason.
Deborah, you've lost it now. You know that, Deborah? You've just lost it. I got a great idea. Here, why don't you give her all of our goddamn money?
And of course, if you have a well-executed villain, that being Michael Myers, as some likable teens, the final area you need to nail is the atmosphere. Part 6 has some of the best atmosphere in the series. Yes, I know how angry that must make you feel, but Part 6 feels like Halloween. And you'd only know that if you grew up somewhere with seasons. I gotta be honest, if you're coastal, you're not gonna get this. Though Part 4 was the first that truly nailed the feel, I always had a small issue that they put Haddonfield, a little too far in the backwoods. Whereas Carpenter set his fake Illinois town in more of a quiet suburb. And this nails that better than any other. This movie actually establishes Haddonfield about an hour southwest of Joliet, not very far from Pontiac. Like Part 5, this was filmed in Salt Lake City, but Curse made a smart move and filmed during the fall. And it shows. Barren trees, ground covered in dead leaves. How can you not love this scene where Michael walks towards a house in that October storm? Or Barry's bloody corpse raining down blood on a child in that cold October night? The look of the Myers house. And the street. This is the look we never got until Part 6, and it's a hill I am willing to die on. As a late-stage Halloween slasher, Halloween 6: A Curse of Michael Myers is fun. Flawed? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, this jumps in the so bad it's good pool more than a few times. But it's still a rock and roll MTV entry, and the 90s kid in me will always have a little bit of love for it. It delivers on its basic needs. Joe Chappelle has an eye and gives this more style and energy than it probably deserves. Michael is a force of nature, looking better than he has in years. And though it makes little sense story-wise, I must admit I kinda like the scientific aspect of the cult. And Michael killing the folks he's controlled by is like when a captive lion is done taking shit and bites back. It's a cool ending set piece, and again, yeah, it makes no sense. But with a snappy pace and a violent Myers, it's a cool visual and it gets the job done. The editing is very music video heavy in this cut, yet the electric guitar fits with the altered aesthetic. And kinda makes this work in its own way. In the end, Halloween 6, Curse of Michael Myers makes for an interesting movie that didn't have a great plan to begin with, yet isn't nearly as bad as most would claim. It's a great looking, mean entry that gets weird. Say what you will about Curse, but it is never boring. And in life, if you aim to entertain, you make the kills aggressive and keep up the pace, even 6 entries in, you can still have some fun. And for that, I'll always have your back.